There are still plenty of free agents out there, Chris, and we're going to have some fun this segment because there are actually 3 guys currently available who were number 1 overall picks in the draft. I have never researched this. I've never even thought about it, but the idea that you could have guys who were drafted in the last decade, 3 of them, number 1 overall, who are all available at the same time. Again, that may be unprecedented. It's Jadeveon Clowney, Jameis Winston, and Cam Newton, and we're going to try to figure out a landing spot for each of those guys. I haven't let you talk for a while. Here we go. I like this.
That's okay. It's all right. You like to talk.
I do like to talk, and I like this graphic that was put together with Gene Rayburn. The match game was awesome. The thin microphone, the not so subtle innuendo that would work its way into some of the questions and some of the answers. You know, Brian Billick was a contestant on Match Game back in the day with an awesome leather jacket. You can find that on YouTube, but don't find it now.
Can we
watch us?
Well, yeah, don't find it now, but can we get some new pictures of our faces? Like, I want to update on me, okay? That's like 4 years old, and that's my evil Roger Goodell picture that you make fun of.
No,
all right,
it's not.
my haircut's changed.
That's a different evil
it's
picture.
a different one. You're right. Either way, I want that changed, and I definitely want yours changed. You're not that young and good looking anymore. I want something more realistic, something within the last decade. That looks like it's 8 to 10 years ago. I want more wrinkles and more gray in your hair now. I like that picture better.
You are such an ass. You are
yes, I am.
And that is rude. That is rude. You are rude. You are a rude human being.
Yes,
right.
I know. Well, I work with a rude human being, so it's wearing off on me.
Hey, look, I mean, you know what, Chris? If you live another 15 years, you'll be 54 too at some point. Get ready for it. It's coming. It's going to happen for all of us, and you can only hope that you're fortunate enough to make it this far. So let's see how much farther I can make it beyond this, because you may defy the stay-at-home order and drive down here and kick my butt if I don't shut up and move on. All right, Jade, here's what we're going to do. 3 categories for each of the 3 number 1 overall picks who are available. Front runner, dark horse, and fantasy choice. And let's start with Jadeveon Clowney, the first overall pick in 2014. Who is your front runner for Jadeveon Clowney's services?
I think I would look at the Seattle Seahawks as still being the front runner. You know, first off, because of the COVID-19 situation, right? I think it's going to be hard to get Jadeveon Clowney to a medical doctor that a team is going to feel comfortable with. He is a guy that needs a full examination. He's coming off a sports hernia surgery. We've talked about the knee. Seattle knows what he is. I don't think he's going to get a really long-term contract out there in free agency because of these injury concerns. I think he'll be offered a lot of 1- and 2-year deals. And I think because of that, I think Seattle knows who he is. He knows Seattle. He knows they're going to be a team that's in the race here as far as coming out of the NFC with Russell Wilson. So I'm going to go with the front runners being Seattle Seahawks. I
agree with you completely. They know who he is. They were with him all year. And I assume, well, they always do an exit physical at the end of the season. So they got to look at him before he had sports hernia surgery. And they may have had an opportunity to take a look at him before the facility shut down. He became a free agent. They had exclusive rights to him until he became a free agent last week. So I think the Seahawks make the most sense. I just think they're waiting for Clowney to come to the realization that the pot of gold is not going to be out there for him elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it. And, you know, it's an unfortunate year for Jadeveon Clowney. You know, for him to be a free agent and have all this going down in our society, certainly not helping his cause as far as capitalizing on all his money. All right, what's the next one we're going with? Dark horse?
Dark horse. What's your dark horse for Clowney?
I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? I just feel like they were kind of in the conversation for it last year. You know, I do think they could use another edge pass rusher on their defense. That's what made them special when they went to the Super Bowl. They could send waves of defensive linemen at you. You know, they got a little bit money left still to spend as far as cap. They've improved their defensive line with Javon Hargrave. I think that was a great signing on the inside, but I think, you know, that'd be a team where I'd like to see him end up at, and I think it makes some sense, scheme sense, and I think there's probably some interest there in Philadelphia if they can get him at the right price.
And I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins for mine. There have been some reports that the Dolphins expressed some interest in Jadeveon Clowney. I really do sense that even as they try to rebuild, they are attracted to plenty of unrestricted free agents. They signed 10 from other teams last week. And maybe once Clowney accepts the fact that he's not going to get what he wants, he takes less from a team other than the Seahawks just because he's miffed the Seahawks aren't giving him that big contract he thought he earned last year. And even though he was injured, and that's the knock on him, he can flip it around and say, I busted my butt for you guys last year. I played through this injury, and this is the appreciation you're showing. No, I'm going to go somewhere else. If the market's not going to bear what I want, I'll take less from another team, and I'll go to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right, and they could probably throw some stupid money at him to outbid everybody else. I think he again would fit with what Brian Flores wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, that hybrid 3-4 defense where Clowney can be a defensive end. He can be a stand-up outside linebacker if you wanted to use him that way too. He can do a little bit of everything. So, I'm with you. I don't think that's a crazy thought at all.
All right, fantasy option, and this can be anything you want, just where you would love to see him line up, what uniform you'd love to see him wear.
Well, okay. I guess if you're going to make me choose any right now, I mean, this is not really realistic, but I think there's a part of me that'd like to see him join the Kansas City Chiefs and improve that defense. But Kansas City's got no room in their cap space. They're kind of hamstrung there. So I say that I'd love to see that, but okay. Should I go more realistic? A more team that I feel like I'd love to see him go back to Houston. Okay. Houston could afford him. I think that would be funny right now to see him go back there. They could certainly use it. They need that type of player. They lost DJ Reader, JJ Watt's getting a year older. Whitney Merciless is good, but not great anymore. So I think in a realistic where I'd like to see him go and have fun with, I'm going to say the Houston Texans.
See, and I'm going to stay in the same state because I want to put any of these guys with the Cowboys because I want the Cowboys to be as interesting as possible, and Jadeveon Clowney would make them interesting. But also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know they've got JPP and they've got Shaq Barrett, but hey, one of the reasons the Eagles would want him, they love to have that rotation of 6 to 8 guys. Add him to the rotation. If you could keep him fresh and if you could keep him healthy, and whenever he's on the field, he's going to be racking up those F up the play statistics that you love so much. That's how he would be the most dangerous. Not out there all the time. Put him in a rotation of 8 guys. Put him in Tampa Bay. Now, good luck paying him, but that's the fantasy option for me, either Dallas or Tampa Bay. All right, let's move on to Jameis Winston. Speaking of Tampa Bay, who's your front runner for the 2015 number 1 overall pick in the draft?
I'm still going to stick with my Pittsburgh Steelers thought. I have no idea where Jameis Winston ends up. To me, again, we've talked about this a lot. Pittsburgh's got a really good football team. We saw when they lost Big Ben Roethlisberger that, their offense fell apart. That wouldn't happen if you had Jameis Winston. And I think it's a great, Jameis Winston's the kind of guy that, you take a shot on. He could end up being your future after Big Ben Roethlisberger retires, something like that. But I would be scared if I'm the Steelers to risk Ben getting hurt again, and now us having to play this defensive style. We have to invent some type of offense to be competitive and win games 13-10. Man, that's just hard to play that way. So I'm going to stay with the Steelers in that combo.
And I'm staying with the Saints. And I know that Sean Payton said yesterday that Taysom Hill is going to be the backup to Drew Brees this year. He'll be number 2. I think that just may be part of the posturing to try to get the price to go down for whoever they may be eyeballing. And I think it makes a ton of sense to have Jameis Winston as the game day short-term backup because you're going to have a completely different offense for Taysom Hill. And they could whip it together quickly, I guess, if they had to. But it worked last year having Teddy Bridgewater ready to run the base offense. You got 11 other guys or 10 other guys on the field to think about. If you start changing the offense dramatically, you have a quarterback who can run that same offense. That's what Jameis Winston should want to do. And look, there is no front runner because no one's interested. This is the one category where our answer should be no one.
I don't know. It's the craziest thing. And listen, I have people around the NFL who have texted me have you heard anything on Jameis Winston? And I go, no, it's crickets. I've never seen anything like it. I've not heard one rumor from anybody I trust or anybody I know that knows anything that has a feel for where Jameis Winston could end up. So, I'm clueless. I know we're just taking shots in the dark right now.
Who's your dark horse candidate for Jameis Winston?
I didn't intend to this happen, and I'm not going to say that I overly prepared for this segment. Okay, all right, I did not, because for some reason I didn't realize we were doing all this. I must have misread our rundown a little bit. I didn't intend to do this. I'm going the Eagles.
Transparency is good, but you have to balance there's a limit to the transparency.
Okay, well, I live this crap, okay, and I got a good idea anyway, so just deal with it, all right? This is all I do all day. I'm going to sit in my kitchen and watch football the whole freaking day. So I'm not going to be that far off base, even though I didn't get to think about it a lot at 11 o'clock last night. All right, you like that better? So shut up and listen, everybody. But I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles again. I didn't mean to do this, but Carson Wentz has an injury history. Are we really going to put it in Nate Sudfeld's hands, the Philadelphia Eagles? I wouldn't do that. I don't trust that. I haven't seen enough from Nate Sudfeld in any preseason action to where I go, oh, when he takes over, they'll be in good shape. No problem. It's just risky. And we've seen Carson Wentz. He can get banged up. I think that's another spot where I would think about Jameis Winston. He could come in and run that offense, has a similar skill set to Carson Wentz.
I'd go with the New England Patriots. Brian Hoyer, Jarrett Stidham. The longer that Bill Belichick is looking at that as his depth chart, and he reminds himself 5,109 passing yards for Jameis Winston last year. If anybody can break Jameis Winston out of the what the hell were you just doing mindset, it's going to be Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, so that's attractive to me. Fantasy option for Jameis Winston.
49ers. If my buddy Kyle Shanahan was listening to me, I'd go, Kyle, take a shot on Jameis Winston. Why not? Jimmy Garoppolo, he slips up next year. Shanahan has a way of making life very easy on the quarterbacks, where it's just like, hey, look at this guy. If this guy goes this way, throw it to that guy. If he goes that way, throw it to this guy. And I think that to me would be Jameis Winston, good deep ball thrower. I'm going to say that would be my fantasy.
You took mine. Yeah. And I was thinking the same thing, having him behind Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'll go with the Rams. I'll say the Rams. They don't have a backup right now. I think they had Blake Bortles under contract. Put him behind Jared Goff, and maybe Sean McVay can fix him. And maybe at some point, Sean McVay realizes, hey, you know what? Winston may be a better quarterback than Jared Goff.
That's a good one. I think that's another team that should think about it. Again, you don't want your team to fall apart. Too many of these teams have backup quarterbacks where they go, oh, he's good in the meeting room. He can get us out of the huddle. Yeah, but he'll get you losses too. That's great that he can draw a nice little circle and X on the chalkboard. Damn, let's give him another $3 million. How about let's see if he can win games and play at a high level on the field? To me, too many teams drop the ball with their backup quarterback with that nonsense.
All right, we got one more. Let's rip through it quickly. Cam Newton, who's your front runner?
Chargers. Come on, LA Chargers. That's what I want to see. To me, it just makes too much sense. So I'll make it quick. That's it.
Yeah, me too. And we've been talking about that. I've been talking about the Chargers as the prime candidate for Cam Newton ever since Phillip Rivers had his 7 interceptions in back-to-back primetime games. All right, who's your dark horse for Cam Newton?
Mike, I think the thing you said yesterday rings true to me. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. I do. I think that makes, I don't think it's crazy. If the Miami Dolphins, maybe they were set on Tua, and then they don't like what they see from Tua, and they don't trust that they can't maybe have a medical examiner all over them and all those things. And maybe they go, oh, man, you know what? We're not really loving any of these quarterbacks in the draft this year. Man, Cam Newton's not a bad fallback option. You could stumble into your guy being their franchise quarterback for the next 5 years.
Yeah, he turns 31 later this year. He could be around for a long time. All right, I'll go same thing, Dolphins, now that I convinced you that they are a viable player. Who's your fantasy option for Newton?
New England. I think if I just had to have fun, I would love to see Cam Newton and Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels have to orchestrate some new offense and play with Cam Newton. It'd be really cool. I don't think that's really realistic. Like I've always said, I think they love Jarrett Stidham, and they should. But, we're having fun here, and I think that would be a lot of fun to see.
Hey, and Cam Newton is 2-0 all time against the New England Patriots, if you haven't heard
that.
No,
I heard that from someone before. I'm not sure who I heard that.
My fantasy option is one that we were spitballing yesterday. Yeah, Raiders. Why wouldn't the Raiders be interested in Cam Newton? Think about it. Yeah, they were at least considering Tom Brady. They've got Marcus Mariota as a backup. I'm sorry, and people think I personally dislike Derek Carr. I just think that he's not as good as people think they are. He's not a top half of the NFL quarterback. I think Cam Newton, if healthy, is clearly better than Derek Carr. Why wouldn't your old coach John Gruden want Cam Newton, Chris?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hear you, Mike. I mean, yeah, healthy, but it's just a big risk. That's what it is right now, and we just don't know. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I don't know if they know really what they totally have in Derek Carr yet. I think this is the year where they're going to have enough talent around him. They're going to say it's your third year in the offense, and it's put up or shut up time this year for Derek Carr. I don't think he'll have any excuses. Last year he played well, but it wasn't great, and he didn't have great talent around him. So that will be used as we don't know what he really has quite yet type of excuse for them or anybody else that's questioning it. So I think that's probably the big reason.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.